All right. Let's see. Okay, so we have Dana Gerard here, who's our Corporate Education and Relations, and she will be talking to us today about how to manage caregiver stress and burnout and some tips for us. So,
great. So we'll go ahead and get started. So like Carrie said, I'm Dana, and we are going to talk about some caregiver stress and burnout today as part of our Employee Family Caregiver Support Program. We're going to go through some signs and symptoms of caregiver stress, how to be a healthy caregiver, how to manage the stress, and some options for taking care of your loved one in the home, and some supports, as well as, of course, a question and answer session at the end. So first, we are going to talk a little bit about Elder Help, and Carrie's going to help me do that.
So our mission here at Elder Help is really to provide personalized services and information that help seniors remain living at home independently and with dignity. And we have different programs that we'll talk about a little bit later, how we help actually support the seniors so they are able to stay independent in their homes. We are also wanting to make sure that we are offering support to family caregivers, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So our programs are really intended on reducing social isolation. We know that there's a lot of effects that come along when somebody is isolated, when they are not having interactions with other people or feeling connected in the community. So we're really geared at wanting to make sure people have access to all of those things, including medical care and socialization. And that's important for family caregivers as well.
Great. So who is a family caregiver and what do they do? Family caregiver is defined as a friend, family member, or loved one who provides assistance for an older adult or someone with a disability. It is important to note that a family caregiver doesn't necessarily have to live with the person that they are caring for. They can live away, they could live long distance, or they could live with the person. And here in San Diego, there are about 650,000 family caregivers who are unpaid. Usually family caregiving is something that starts slowly. So maybe you are picking up a few things at the grocery store for your mom, and then you start to make her some meals and bring her some of your leftovers, and then you're coming over to pick up some things around her house, and then maybe one day she has a fall and you start going over there every time she needs to take a shower, and it's just all a progression. So the average family caregiver is a 46-year-old married woman who works outside of her home, and she spends about 4 years providing care to a relative. Caregivers usually spend an average of 24 hours per week providing help, and like I said, that is a progression with the 24 hours per week. It starts slowly, and then it gets up to there, and sometimes ends up being more. So in the United States, there are over 34 million people who identify as a caregiver for someone over the age of 50, and 16 million of those people, so about half of those people, are caring for someone with dementia or Alzheimer's, and 83% of all caregivers are a relative for the person that they're caring for, and most often this is a son or a daughter taking care of their mom. So what do family caregivers do? Almost all family caregivers, it's over 90% of family caregivers, provide help with activities of daily living, or ADLs, or instrumental activities of daily living, IADLs. So ADLs are things like dressing, bathing, helping someone to get around the house, transferring from maybe a chair to the bed, and IADLs are things like grocery shopping, going to medical appointments, taking medications, making meals. Approximately half of all caregivers provide some kind of medical or nursing tasks. So this would be things like giving shots, sorting medications, doing wound care. And I think it is important to note that when half of these caregivers are doing things that are medical or nursing tasks, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are a professional medical provider or a nurse. So the value of family caregivers is absolutely huge. Family caregivers in the U.S. give over 37 billion hours of care every year, and as we're increasing in the number of older adults, that number is, of course, always increasing. And in 2013, the value of unpaid family caregiving was $470 billion, which is more than Medicaid and paid home care, and it almost matched the value of Walmart in 2013, which is $477 billion. So that is a huge, huge number and a huge value. Caregiver stress and burnout. What does this mean? So these are just some symptoms of caregiver stress and burnout. It doesn't necessarily mean that if you have all these symptoms, you are stressed, or if you have one or two of these symptoms, you are stressed. And there are other symptoms that aren't listed here that you just need to pay attention to your body and what you need if you think that you are experiencing caregiver stress. So some of the main symptoms are social withdrawal from friends or family or social activities. So not wanting to do the things that you used to do, such as going to lunch with a friend or going to a group activity, a book club that you used to always do with people that you care about. Having anxiety about the person that you're caring about. So thinking things like, what happens when their care needs go beyond what I can provide? Having exhaustion or changes in sleep patterns, not being able to sleep through the night, or just thinking, I can't do this anymore, I'm too tired. Feeling irritable, depressed, blue, or hopeless, thinking things like you just don't care anymore about the person, or you're just wanting to give up on caregiving. Having a loss of interest in things that you used to care about. So maybe not caring about what your friends are up to, what your family, your neighbors are up to anymore. And having a loss or gain of appetite or weight. Having cravings for food that you never had before, or just not having any type of want or to eat, having no appetite and gaining a lot of weight from that, or losing a lot of weight, of course, as well. So if you are having some of these symptoms or signs, make sure that you are contacting your doctor and talking to him or her about what you are going through. Letting them know that you are a caregiver is also a huge, important thing to let them know about. Set realistic expectations for yourself. Don't expect yourself to stay up for 18 hours a day, every day, taking care of the person that you love, or waking up in the middle of the night, every hour when they are as well. Joining a support group can be super helpful, and when you're joining these groups, if you're unable to attend in person, there are a lot of them online. I guarantee if you Google whatever kind of care you are giving for your loved one, so like something like Alzheimer's or dementia, Parkinson's, you can find a caregiver support group online, and be sure that you are being honest in these groups, because likely the other people in these groups are going through the same thing as you. And it can really help to reduce feelings of isolation. You're not the only one. If you don't have friends or family around that can help you, look into hiring some help. So maybe just a couple hours a week of someone coming into your home, or your loved one going to an adult daycare. And we'll talk more about this later. This is also a really great option for somebody who's doing caregiving from a distance, which is something else we'll talk about in a little bit. And make sure that you are setting some time aside for yourself, even if it's just an hour, half an hour a day. This is important to do even when you feel like you don't need it yet, or that you don't have time to do it. It is really important. It is a really healthy habit to start just from the beginning. And most importantly, educate yourself. You can't properly take care of the person that you are caring for if you don't know anything about their diagnosis or what's going on with them. Also educating yourself on caregiver stress, which is what you're doing now. So some tips for self-care and managing your stress. Make sure that you are, of course, exercising, eating well, getting enough sleep. Even if you are exercising with the person that you're caring for, going for a walk, walking the mall, or doing an exercise at home, doing maybe a video from YouTube or a DVD, or having that as your break through the week, going to an exercise class at a local gym once or twice a week. Make sure you're eating well. Eating a lot of caffeine and sugary foods all at once is going to make you crash later in the day. Make sure you're having a well-balanced diet. Getting enough sleep, so 6 to 8 hours a night. Visiting your doctor regularly. This really only means once a year, taking the time, that hour for yourself to visit your doctor and make sure that you are healthy. Practice meditation, or even just taking regular deep breaths once an hour. I've heard of people setting alarms on their phone to just remind themselves once an hour to take a deep breath, or doing yoga, practicing, just taking a little bit of time to stretch is just a really good way to reduce your stress. Talk to a friend or a family member about what you're going through. Maybe they have absolutely no idea, and be honest with them. Just because you're talking with them about what you're going through as being a caregiver doesn't necessarily mean that they're complaining. This is what's going on in your life right now, and if this person cares for you, they want to know about that. Make sure that you are scheduling time for yourself. Like I said, just a little bit of time every day is so important. Maybe you can do it while the person that you care for is taking a nap, or you can ask a neighbor to have them take a walk with them, so that you have 15 minutes or half an hour to yourself. And if it's important to you, be sure that you are looking to your faith. And likely, if it's important to you, it's important for that person that you're caring for as well. And maybe they do like to take that time out of their week to go to church, or maybe you can watch it on TV or on the internet as well. So working family caregivers. About half of the workforce identifies as a family caregiver, and about 60% of all caregivers are employed. That's a huge number. You're not alone in this. The average family caregiver works 35 hours per week, so they are working just about full time. Managing your stress with work, talk to your employer. It won't come as a surprise to them then when you need to take time off, and maybe they have some resources available for you. Only half of employed family caregiver supervisors are aware of their situation, and being honest is always, your supervisor is probably going to appreciate it a lot. Ask your employer about starting a support group within your organization. So if you do work for a large organization, maybe this is something that you can do, because like I said, 50% of all caregivers are working. So huge option. If you can work from home or remotely, maybe for one day a week or a couple hours a week, it can help, and maybe help you financially with not hiring a caregiver or sending your loved one to an adult daycare. Look into adult daycare. Most of these are open about 5 days a week and many hours a day, so it can help you with getting your loved one out of the home and letting you go to work. And if you feel like you need to, look into the Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA. This is a law that provides up to 12 weeks of unpaid time off by your employer to take care of medical conditions of a family member or loved one. In California, most people are eligible for part of this time to be paid. So if it's something that you feel you need to look into or want to look into, just contact your HR department and they should be able to help you. Set goals for yourself. So make sure these goals are attainable, achievable. They're time sensitive, and because taking a break may seem unachievable to start right away. So if you start with something small and achievable, you will be able to do it. So an example would be to start to feel more healthy in the next 3 months. A simple way to do that would be make an appointment with your doctor. Maybe you haven't been in a few years. Set aside 15 minutes 3 times a week to go for a walk, such a small amount of time that can just give you such a break. Maybe instead of going for a walk, you're going to a yoga class or an exercise class once a week, or you're taking a nap twice a week while the person you're caring for is napping. Easy ways to get started. If you're able to, set up a team. Identify strengths and weaknesses of everyone that are involved in your team, so friends and family members that are involved, and make sure that you guys are all staying involved with any professionals of doctors, care managers, transportation going on with your loved one. Make sure you're honest with your strengths and weaknesses. So are you really good at finance and you're really comfortable with setting up bills and online bill pay, doing taxes? Are you really good at maybe talking to doctors and staying updated with them, keeping the doctors updated on what's going on with your loved one? At the same rate, make sure you're identifying your weaknesses. So if you are really bad at finance, it's not your strong point, reach out to somebody who may be able to help you, a brother, a sister, somebody else in your family, a neighbor even. So why is this all so important? Caregiver health is so crucial to the care recipient's health. When a family caregiver isn't healthy, the care recipient is a lot more likely to end up with health conditions themselves, end up in the hospital, fall, or end up in a nursing home, and nobody wants that to happen to their loved one. When a caregiver is experiencing depression, the care recipient is also more likely to report being depressed. So why do I have this picture here of the flight attendant with the oxygen mask? Everyone knows when the oxygen mask deploys in front of you on an airplane, you're supposed to help yourself before helping others. And this is the same for caregiving. You need to help yourself and keep yourself healthy before you can fully take care of somebody else. If you're not healthy, that person is likely to end up with repercussions because of it. Caregiver burnout is what happens when you aren't taking care of yourself and your stress is affecting the health of the person that you're taking care of. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I said, it's not a sign of weakness or failure. If you're talking to somebody, be honest about what's going on with you. Reach out for help. Ask them if they can help you. Don't ignore your own health, because if you start to become unhealthy, the person that you're caring for is likely to do the same. So caregiving from a distance. Almost 7 million people in the U.S. are caring for somebody long distance, and this is defined as at least 1 hour away from the person they're caring for. This number is expected to double by 2020, and this number isn't growing just because we are such a mobile society, but 65% of seniors in the U.S. have moved states in the last decade. So it's just more common for families to be far apart from each other. A fourth of all long-distance caregivers report to be the main or the primary caregiver. So it's achievable. It's something that we can do and what we're going to talk about. So how can you help from a distance? You can help with making phone calls. You can call doctors. You can keep them updated on what's going on with your loved one. You can call the primary caregiver and make sure that they're doing okay. You can call pharmacies and order medications, grocery stores. You can just call your loved one and make sure that they're doing okay every day. Remind them to take their medications over the phone. Online, you can do so much research and so much from online. Research diagnoses, disease, medications. You can order groceries online. So many caregivers are doing things with Amazon like Prime Pantry and just ordering simple things that maybe their loved one can't get out and order, get from the store. They can order it online and get it shipped right to their house. You can also stay in touch via email, so staying in touch with other caregivers, other family members, and doing like to-do lists for the next day, the next week, the next month, just staying in touch on what's going on with your loved one. You can also access a lot of medical records and a lot of doctor's notes online. You just need to fill out a HIPAA form and make sure that they know that you want to be in the loop. If the person that you care for is online and does email, you can email them every day to keep them updated on what they need to do for the day. You can maybe FaceTime them or Skype them. And if the person that you care for doesn't have access to the internet, try snail mail. They might really appreciate still receiving pictures and letters from you in the mail, and it really may make their day. And most importantly, it's important to stay positive, not only for yourself, but the person that you're caring for and anybody else who is on your caregiving team, so that it doesn't seem like so much of a burden, and it will it'll improve your mood as well. So some more tips for managing long distance. Keep and create a contact list. So not only is this important for you, but the person that you're caring for, having phone numbers of friends, family members, neighbors, doctors, pharmacies, anyone you think that they may need to call. Keep a list for yourself as well, so that in case of an emergency, you do know your mom's neighbor's phone number. And it also could be a good idea to have that local contact have a garage code or a key, some way that they can check up on your loved one in case of an emergency. Keep important documents all together in a known place. So this would include everything from your contact list to diseases, diagnoses, medications, numbers of lawyers, or just things like social security numbers, birth certificates, wills, financial information, any bills that need to be paid in case of an emergency, so you know exactly where it is. Don't keep it in a safe that you don't know the code to. One really big thing is to keep a list of diagnoses or diseases and medications on the fridge, as well as a few emergency contacts, because if emergency services are called, that is the first place that they're going to check, is right on the fridge, so that they can give your loved one the proper medical treatment and they're not mixing any medications that don't go well together. Make visits productive. So if you are planning to visit from a long distance, make sure that you have all appointments set up ahead of time. If you need to go to the doctor, if you need to get any services in place, or if you need to go to the store and pick up any major furniture or get groceries for your loved one. Make sure that every time you're visiting, you are checking in their fridge, seeing what they're eating, and doing a home safety check, and just reevaluating if they are safe to be at home and if their home is safe for them. Also, when you're visiting, make sure that you are leaving some time for fun things, to go to the movies, your favorite restaurant, take a walk, and spend quality time together. A really cool program that you can get your loved one signed up for if you're concerned about them is the Mail Carrier Alert program. So a lot of the times, mail carriers are a senior's only point of contact during the day. Mail carriers really get to know their routine because they are there at the same time almost every day. So they're looking out for things like no tracks in the snow, a dog crying, or their mail just hasn't been picked up in many days. So if you're interested in getting your loved one enrolled in this program, all you have to do is contact their local post office, and then the post office will put a sticker inside their mailbox to let the mail carrier know, hey, look out for this person. If you see anything weird, we can contact the emergency contact. Also, a great idea is to contact a geriatric care manager. So some of these are, or a geriatric care manager is usually a professional such as a social worker, a gerontologist, or a nurse that can help manage care for someone from a distance, or even if you are local and you need somebody to help you with managing the care, finding different resources available or different places that maybe a respite care program. Some of them are private pay, but others are available through a local government agency, such as your area agency on aging. So some options for in-home care supports. Don't be afraid to ask your family, friends, and neighbors for help, and keep a list of tasks that they can help with when they do offer. Maybe they just take your loved one for a walk so that you get 30 minutes of time to yourself. Maybe a relative can help you with some financial information, fill out insurance paperwork, organize that from a distance. Maybe a neighbor can help you pick up some things at the grocery store next time that they're going. Don't be afraid to ask, and don't wait until you're too overwhelmed to ask. So some different options for in-home care supports, like I said, adult daycare. Adult daycare is usually held at a respite care facility or its own facility, and they usually offer services 5 days a week for several hours during the day so that your loved one, if they're able to go out of the home for care, they can go while you're at work, or maybe you just need a day off. Usually these facilities offer things like small group activities, snacks and meals, education, and sometimes they even have therapies there, such as like a physical therapist, occupational therapist. In-home care is when a caregiver comes to your home. It's usually private pay, but there is some funding for it, and this can be anywhere from a few hours a day to several hours a day, depending on what you need and what the person that you're caring for needs. So sometimes it's just a couple hours once a week for some respite care. Other times, like I said, it can go up to 24 hours a day. So this is things like housekeeping, meal preparation, transportation, or even just some companionship. They can also do things like bathing and dressing and toileting. Respite care facilities, I'm talking more here about like assisted living and memory care facilities, but this can include adult day cares. Sometimes assisted living or memory care facilities will do programs where they offer either overnight or a weekend or a full week off. If you want to take a full vacation or even a staycation, your loved one can go there and be fully taken care of. And a great option is a personal emergency response system. So this is typically something like a lifeline, often referred to. But this is good for someone who's home for part of the day or always by themselves. So this is the little button that either is worn as a necklace or a bracelet, and they can push it in case of any kind of an emergency. It doesn't have to be a medical emergency. It could be fire or police as well. They can notify you, or if you live nearby, they can directly call you to go over and respond to your loved one. Unless it's an emergency, then emergency response people would come. And a lot of these are waterproof. Some of them can even go with your loved one if they still drive. A lot of them don't need to be charged, and some of them can even detect falls if somebody were to fall and become unconscious. So it's important just to keep those things in mind when you are looking for them, but they are pretty cheap for what they can provide of your reassurance. So some other home care options, these are mostly local, but obviously elder help. Mm-hmm. The VA, if the person you're caring for is a veteran, it's really great to contact their VA care coordinator. And if you don't know how to find that, you can find that online for them. They offer some options for in the home. Alzheimer's San Diego is the local Alzheimer's support program, and where their funding stays only in San Diego. And nationwide, you can contact your local area agency on aging, and here in San Diego, that is Aging and Independent Services. So just again on some what other things Elder Help offers, which Carrie will explain.
Sure. So as you can see from this, so really we're geared at wanting to make sure that the seniors have what they need living at home, and in turn that's providing you, the family caregiver, a break from doing some of those day-to-day tasks. We have care coordinators who are available to help connect people to other resources in the community, but they also help to coordinate the volunteers that are through Elder Help's program. So we match up volunteers with older adults so that they are able to help with things like the grocery shopping or providing a social visit. We call a friendly visit. It could be somebody going for a walk with your loved one, or maybe taking them to their doctor's appointments or to the grocery store, different things along those lines that people are needing. So there are different opportunities for those services, and that is local here. We also do have volunteers that will help with balancing the checkbook or sorting through the mail and bills. So that you're able to go and just have a nice visit with your loved one, and we can handle those kind of more timely tasks. We do focus a lot on home safety. We know that as somebody ages in their home is also aging, so we want to make sure that if there are needing some updates, maybe a grab bar to be installed, or even just some light bulbs to be changed, or the smoke alarms to be working again. Those are all things that our volunteers can help with. And Dana mentioned, having those phone calls or checking in with your loved one on a daily basis. There are different programs that we can also help with, and we do a daily check-in phone call for people who may hear from their loved ones as well, but it's just also nice for them to have other socialization and have somebody else calling them. And of course, if you wanted to be listed as the emergency contact, we would notify you if we were unable to reach your loved one. So just some different options through Elder Help.
Great. So be sure to join us next month for our next webinar in our Employed Family Caregiver webinar series. Do we have any questions?
Yes. I'd like to know if I can get some more information about Elder Help. Want to understand if it's fee-based, or how does it work out if we like to use their service?
Sure. So the question was specifically about Elder Help's program. So all of our services are offered on a donation basis only. So we don't have any set fees for any of our direct services. What we do is, look at what somebody is needing and how we might be able to support them through our programs, and then also connecting to outside resources. So if you have somebody who is interested in getting started with any of our programs, the best thing to do would be to have them actually call our main phone number, which you see on the screen there at 619-284-9281. We're happy to talk to family members or friends of somebody. So if you have questions and want to know more about our services and how that might be a possibility for your loved one, we are happy to talk to you and answer those questions. But in order to initiate any of our programs, we do want to hear from the senior themselves to make sure that they are interested in receiving the help and that they understand the program as well. That's part of them staying independent and keeping their dignity too.
I see. So there's no website, no website for me to go and browse around?
Sure.
Before
so Elder Help does have a
contacting.
website. If you go to elderhelpofsandiego.org, you will find our website. It is currently undergoing some updates, so we are doing some transitions to a new host site. So if you are finding that there might be some links that are not currently working, definitely reach out to us, and you have Dana's direct email on the screen as well. But yes, our website does have information, and coming soon it will definitely have more information and support that's available there as also.
Yeah, I see what looks like two email addresses. I'm not sure if it's a website. One is right under the general, and one is under at the bottom.
Sure. So under the general, That's our general email address. So if you want
Uh-huh.
to email us directly and you weren't sure who it should go to, you can feel free to email any questions to info@elderhelpofsandiego.org. Or if you're wanting to reach Dana directly, she's our corporate education and relations person, and she will be hosting monthly webinars, as well as if you are coming from a corporation, she's happy to come out and do lunch and learns and help make those in-person presentations as well about further details. So that's who is on that main site.
Okay. Can you repeat the website, because I could not hear you very well?
Of course, and I'm actually going to put it into the message here so that everybody can have it. So it is elderhelpofsandiego.org. And we can email that out to you as well, so we can include that when we send our follow-up email, so you have our direct website.
Yes, that would be helpful.
Wonderful. Any other questions at this time?
No, that would be it. Thank you.
All right.
Well, thanks for attending. If any other questions come up, feel free to email me. Thank you for attending, everyone.
And we'll be sending an email shortly that has our website, as well as a link to a brief survey. And we have another webinar that will be coming up in August, so we will send you that information as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.